What's going on, guys? WeeklyMich number 3. And yesterday I was recording with the Above All Regime crew podcast number 3 for the Regime podcast, and we were talking about the artistic slash creative landscape of Patterson and the surrounding communities, and we touched on this detail about schools and the benefit of schools and the things that aren't so beneficial of schools. We touched on elementary school, how art classes are the funding for art classes in public schools are being cut, and the government or the school system doesn't seem to find the value in developing the kids' creative tendencies, which I think is a huge mistake in the long run. But regardless of that, we talked about college and the benefits and the things that aren't so beneficial that are being taught to us or being forced into our lives through those classes that we don't have any interest in learning about. But there's a fine line, and I think that, for me, for example, I'm just waiting for the car to warm up, by the way. That's why I'm standing still. I'm usually driving when I'm recording these. But I think that college is something that you should use as a tool, rather than going to college because you think that it's the right thing to do because you want to get a secure job, versus going to college because you see value in what you may learn, and you can apply that value and knowledge that you're gaining to whatever it is that you want to do creatively. Like, as an artist, it's not a bad thing to go to college, I don't think. Sure, there are things that you're going to be taught that aren't necessarily something you're interested in, but I can tell you so many occasions where I've gone through an experience and I didn't see any value in that experience until later, months later on, even years later on, where that memory of that experience stuck in my head, but I didn't know that it was going to be useful up until the future. So there are things in college, I think, rather than letting the school system use you to push you through the system and then use you for their benefit, like making you an accountant or making you an economic what are the titles for economic majors? I'm not sure. Stock analyst, rather than doing something that they want you to do, rather than doing something that they think they need in the economy. Use this college system, the education system, for your benefit. So go and take advantage of it, is what I say, with the idea, with the thought in your mind that there is something in it that you can gain. There is value that you can gain, so that then you can later on apply it as an artist into your entrepreneurial endeavors as an artist. Because artists, in my opinion, are businessmen and women. We are entrepreneurs because we are our own business, and that's what an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur is somebody that invests in business ideas, invests in whatever it is. It could be yourself. And as artists, that's what we're doing. We're creating our own business. Our business is ourselves, and we're investing in that business. So that, by default, makes you an entrepreneur. So there are things in business school that I'm learning that I know that I can later on apply it to my career, which my end goal is to have a photography studio and work with big companies, big names, and create, like, magazines specifically. That's what I really want to do, is work with magazines to create photo shoots, to create magazine covers. That's what I really want to do. So to reach that, I have certain steps that I know that I have to take to climb up that ladder, to be able to open up that photography studio securely, knowing that I will have a client base. So there are certain steps that I have to take before that. But the classes that I'm taking in business school, I'm going to start driving now or else I'm going to be late for class. So the classes that I'm taking now in business school, I know that I can later on, once I open that photography studio, I can apply those lessons that I learned in my business classes, apply that to my photography studio and run the shit out of it and make it successful. So I'm taking what they're teaching me in business school, and rather than applying it to become what they want me to become, rather be an accountant, or rather be a stock analyst, or be a fucking manager at a corporate firm that builds weapons for the army or some shit like that, rather than taking that knowledge and doing that, I'm taking that knowledge and applying it to what I want to do, to what drives me, what brings me most joy. So it's kind of flipping the script on them, taking advantage of what they have to offer, rather than letting them take advantage of me, which is something I think we should reconsider. College, rather than going to college unexcited or oh man, I have to fucking, I have to take this class or that class. Look at it as a benefit. You could apply that to your own life, to whatever it is you want to do. I think too often we go through college thinking that we're taking these classes or going to college because we're forced. If you don't want to be in college, don't be in college. If you don't find any value, if you don't see any value in what college... Jeez, I forgot to put on my seatbelt. Hold on. So what's going on, man? A little close-up of my face here. So... if you don't see any benefit or any value in a college education, then don't go. It's simple as that. But if you reanalyze it and instead of rather having a victim mentality and saying that you're going to college because you have to, and you look at college as a way to learn skills that you would have otherwise taken longer to develop or maybe not developed at all, and use college's education to benefit your own dreams, then I think you'll be much better off. Again, this is just an opinion. This isn't fact. I'm not a guru by any means. I'm just expressing what I feel is the path with least resistance right now. And that's all I think I wanted to touch upon right now. This vlog is going to be a little bit short this week. Well, maybe I'll go in a little bit more detail as to what I want to do with the photography studio. So like I said, that's my end goal, is a photography studio. And in the last couple weeks, I remember mentioning in one of the last vlogs that I was struggling with figuring out what it was that I wanted to do. And I am pretty confident right now that I've defined a really solid and logical path to reach what I believe will bring me most happiness. And right now, and I'm convinced it'll stay for a while, is I want to eventually have a photography studio. And to get to that goal, I don't want to just start a photography studio out of nowhere with no client base, with no experience, because I'm a photographer and I know I have skill, but I still acknowledge that there is so much more for me to learn, and there will never be enough for me to learn. Like, it's not, I won't reach a point where I won't be able to learn anything. There is always something more to learn. So acknowledging that there's so much more for me to learn is what's holding me back from trying to start a photography studio in 1, 2, 3, 5 years. Right? So I have a... Sorry about that. There was a cop. There was a cop facing me as I was driving. He was at a stoplight, So I just dropped the camera to like maybe he wouldn't see it. Anyway, so I have a plan, and it's a plan that goes in steps to get to that photography studio. So that's the goal, that's the vision. I see that at the end of the tunnel. But I have to, in my mind, do certain things before that to set me up for success in the future. So, first step is I will get an internship at a really cool company. Either a production internship, a photography internship, or a creative assistant internship. Even a marketing assistant or marketing intern at a magazine firm, just to get my foot in the door. Even though it's not something that I want to do in the long run, as long as I can get my foot in the door at some cool magazine or a cool production company, I know that I can transform that opportunity and take advantage and turn it into something that is more aligned with what I want to do. So first off is getting an internship, and then graduating in the sense from that internship into a full-time position. So what seems to be the path that I really want to take right now is production internship, production assistant, then going to producer, and eventually going to something more in the creative realm. So maybe creative assistant, and then creative director eventually. And once I get to that creative director position, I'd like to, throughout that whole time, I would have been networking, but with that creative director position, I want to really network the fuck out of that job and build a base, and even start my photography studio at that point, and use my photography studio to provide the photography and video services for the magazine that I'm working for. See what I'm saying? So I'd like to be the creative assistant of a magazine, a creative director eventually of a magazine, while having a photography studio and using that photography studio to provide the services of video and photography to the magazine that I'll be working for. There's another cop right there. Kind of a symbiosis thing where I'm working for the company, and then I'm providing the company work, and then afterward I can, when I feel the time is right, I can leave the magazine and then just have the photography studio, because I built up that client base and I built up that reputation by working with the magazine that I was working for before. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense, and I won't be doing things along the way that I won't be happy with. All those internships and those positions that I will attain throughout my career will all be things that will build up my skills throughout the whole time, so then by the time that I get to the photography studio, I'll have all these skills that I gained from the internships and the smaller positions. So throughout the whole thing, I'll be enjoying my career rather than sucking ass to some account executive or marketing executive to then, you get what I'm saying? Like, I enjoy business genuinely, but it's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. Let me rephrase that. I enjoy business genuinely, but it's not something that I want to do for the rest of my life for someone else. I want to do business for my damn self. And I don't want to work in a business capacity, like in the marketing, business operation, marketing capacity, solely for another company. Obviously, with the roles that I'll be doing, like creative director, I'll have to do some give marketing input and business operation input, and I'm 100% for that, 110% for that. But I don't want that to be my 24/7, 365 gig. I want priority to be put on creative endeavors, and then a smaller portion of it to business operation and business type of decisions, and marketing type of decisions, all that. But the majority, I want it to be revolving around creative work. Okay, and that's my long-term plan right now, and I am confident that that's something that will stick with, because it makes so much sense, and I'm very confident that that's what's gonna bring me the most joy, because there is no more joy that I've ever felt than the moments where I'm behind the camera and taking fucking epic pictures, like really nice pictures. That brings me so much joy, is immortalizing a moment in time, immortalizing a beautiful moment in time. There's nothing more that, like, that shit just sounds mind-boggling, but fucking amazing. A camera is the only tool that allows you to freeze time. That moment you eternalize. That was a connection between the photographer and the person being photographed. By clicking that shutter, you're immortalizing that moment in time. That connection is forever captured in that picture. That is fucking beautiful to me. And that's what I want to keep doing for the rest of my life. That's what I will do for the rest of my life. And I've never been more sure of that than I am at this very moment. That being said, I'm driving into school right now, and I am running late to class, but that's alright. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Catch you on the flippity flop. Peace.